G'day and welcome to another week of Talk of the Town. To the Port Adelaide Premiership champion and All-Australian selector this week. He's got the guard up. He's ready for Sam to take him apart. Warren Tredrea, g'day.
That won't happen because he's never taken anyone apart, but I'm ready for some blows. Don't worry. Just a couple of minor flesh wounds.
There's a few staff members at the Adelaide Football Club that might disagree with that claim, Tredders, but the chief football reporter of the Nine Network is Sam McClure. G'day, Sam.
Hello, Seb. Hello, Warren. I don't know what anyone's worried about. I'm a lover, not a hater. I get misconstrued.
Well, let's take a look at the All-Australian group that came out this week. Todd Goldstein will start with. In 2020, you can see here, 27 hitouts, 5 clearances, and average 14 disposals. And Tredders, you couldn't find a spot for him. What is the go?
Well, let's clarify. Not just me, about 8 other selectors couldn't find a spot for him. And you know what? As I say, play your role. I've always said play your role. My job is to watch the South Australian clubs and watch as much footy as possible, and also watch the two forwards. So last time I checked, boys, last time I checked, I played forward, not ruck. But it's a tough one. And this was funny. When I made All-Australian team years ago, there was no 40. So everyone just wants to be offended nowadays. And what I will say, Todd Goldstein, I pushed him pretty hard. We had a genuine debate, but how many ruckmen are we going to play in 40? Most teams play one ruck, and pretty much across the whole 8 selectors, or how many are in the room, or this year via Zoom online, they found that the first two were clearly Nat Newey and Gawn, and then maybe Blitzars plays a bit of ruck too.
Sammy, before we get your view on the All-Australian list, let's take a look at Stephen May from the Demons. Another notable admission this week, averaging 16 disposals, 5 rebound 50s and 10 goals against throughout season 2020. Was he a bit stiff to miss?
Oh, a bit stiff. That last statistic that you just reeled off said 10 goals in a season he's had kicked against him. You know, like he's got to be in the 40. And people will say, oh, well, who are you going to take out? It doesn't matter. He's got to be in the best 3 defenders in the competition, so he's got to be in the 40. Look, I hate being critical of the All-Australian squads every year because some of the all-time greats, like Tredders, like Matthew Richardson, like Cameron Ling, like Luke Darcy, their great footy minds go into it. But I reckon once every 4 or 5 years, there's 1 or 2 glaring omissions that are hard to debate. The Todd Goldstein one, who I think's probably been just behind Nick Nat-Nui, the best ruckman in the comp this year, has missed out on the 40, which I don't think can be really explained. And I'd love to hear the explanation for Stephen May not making the 40. Now, some of those players that we just mentioned may not have gone on to make the team, but I think to be rewarded for their years in a squad of 40, those admissions are pretty startling to me.
Well, Tredders, you're our representative on the All-Australian panel. Stephen May, why wasn't he good enough?
Well, the other facts are who was seen as being better. And it's not a fact of he wasn't good. He came under heavy scrutiny and heavy discussion. But in the end, it comes down to a vast majority of who they find in the team. Like this year is the first year, and I can speak hand on heart here, is the first year in a long, long time we've had an abundance of defenders. Now, up until a couple of years ago, we sat down at one stage and go, do we actually name a ruckman? We actually named a ruckman an All-Australian team, yet there wasn't a dominant ruckman. Whereas what we've seen this year, there's been 3 or 4 ruckmen. But in defence here, Luke Ryan, career best year. Haynes, career best year. Grimes, sensational again, and played a pivotal role in the last 3 years of 2 premierships over the last 3 years for the Tigers. Burn Jones, 2 brilliant years in a row. Shepherd, Jonas. Then you go key position players who are your lockdown key position players, which Stephen May fits into either can play free or lockdown. So he is that in between both. Then you got Moore, Wiedering and Andrews, who most people say are the 3, probably 2 go into that 3. So it is difficult. And Stephen May's rightly to feel annoyed and offended or disappointed because he's had a wonderful year and you could take out any one of those players and put him in, but he wasn't voted in. And unfortunately, that's just how the cookie crumbles, mate.
Drew, a serious question. I'm not being smart here. Why does Grimes' premiership success over the last 3 years, or does it have any impact on him getting selected this year?
No, it doesn't have really any. But what we do find too is there's a lot of players you'll find and go, geez, he's been wonderful. For example, Tom Jonas 2 years ago, I can say it now because that was the Geelong, one of the key Geelong defenders, and you can go back and look in history. Jonas was the 23rd man. It was a heavy debate who got the last spot in the 22, and on the starting ground, he missed out. This year, he's been wonderful again. Does that count for him to be in the 22? Well, history will make that decision. But you sit there and you look through every instance, there's a lot of blokes who just miss out. And sometimes that can tip them over the line simply because they've had 4 or 5 years of outstanding work and they're just as good as someone else who's coming in for their first year. And sometimes it can be a flick of the coin whether you get in and not get in. And the difficult bit is, and I know you said this before, who do you take out? Well, and it's an easy one for selectors to say that, but realistically, if you've ever sat down and picked your 22, you've probably got 5 or 6 positions could be flip of a coin for someone else. And you try as an All-Australian selector to go, hey, if this guy's an 8-6, 7, 8, 5, 4-time All-Australian, 5-time Premiership player, whatever it is, you try and take that out of it to say, how has their year been in isolation compared to the rest of the competition? Not how is their isolation or year been compared to the rest of their career or whatever. So it is a difficult task. And what we say is, hey, if you think a glaring omission is Goldstein going to be better than Gawn? Some say yes. The selection committee has said no. A lot of people are saying no for Nat Newey. So it is a tough one. But yeah, it can sound like a cop-out from our perspective, but it is a long job. It takes 5 or 6 different meetings, 2 and 3 hour heavy debates. People pitch their cases, and sometimes you just don't get your way.
The one thing I think is a really interesting argument, Tredrea and Seb, is whether all Australian selectors are picking the best players who have had the best year and then finding positions for them, or they're picking the best players in their positions. Like last year, Marcus Bontempelli was an All-Australian wingman. Marcus Bontempelli's never played on the wing in his life, ever. So he probably deserved to be in the team. But, did players like Mitch Robertson and Hugh McCluggage have better years than him on the wing? Well, absolutely, because they play on the wing. It'll be interesting this year, Treaders. Like, I think that the 2 best key forwards in the comp this year, I think it's pretty much agreed on. I don't want to speak for other people, that it's been Hawkins and Dixon. But they're both stay-at-home, big bodies, throw everyone else out of the way, full forwards. But I get the feeling that Charlie Dixon's going to be played at centre-half forward in the All-Australian team. Never played centre-half forward in his life. He's not quick and it's not a go at him, but he's just a full forward. So, yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Darcy Moore, I assume, has been selected over Stephen May because he plays centre-half back and May doesn't. And Andrews has probably had a better year than May at fullback. But, yeah, the clarification for me as a journo and as a fan is that are you picking the best players in the best position, or are you just picking the best players and then find a position for them?
Well, I think it's really a combination of both. But what I will say is, many years ago when I was named All-Australian, Matthew Pavlich would play in the midfield and push behind the ball as a free man ahead of time. He was All-Australian full-back. I can tell you, I was playing as a power forward and I never played on him. So, they used to send Troy Simmons behind. So I think it's fair to say it has got a lot better in that time. It used to be, I reckon, 14 midfielders and the rest, a couple of key post defenders and a couple of key forwards, and everyone else moved the magnets around. I can tell you right now, this team this year has got a lot more weight. Yes, Bontempelli, last year you can move him outside the wing, but who actually plays wing? Are we going to, this is the question for you guys, do we pick wingmen who actually play wing every week? And whilst they might not be as astounding as other midfielders, do you reward them for being the best of a bad bunch, so to speak? And that's not any year, but there is that discussion. I can say Charlie Dixon spends as much time up the ground as back the ground, because the days of playing as a key forward, as a centre-half forward and full forward, are long gone. The only ones that probably do that are West Coast. The rest of the guys, does Buddy Franklin ever play full forward or half forward? Does he just roam? They all roam. So I can understand that discussion. And Dixon and Hawkins do play a similar type. How many actually play small forward? For example, does this year, I think Martin and Dangerfield have played as much time forward as they have in midfield. So do we judge them as a forward-midfield hybrid, or we judge them as a forward alone or a midfield alone? So it is a difficult one. But what we've tried to do in this team is you pick a small forward, at least 1 or 2. You play midfield forward hybrids. You try and play blokes who spend most of the time on the wing, but they also play centre square. Not going to lie about that. You play halfbacks who you have 2 genuine defenders. For example, a Moore could be a run-off type, play centre halfback every week. Harris Andrews and a May type, even though May didn't make the squad, are probably the more deeper type of forward. Jonas is a more lockdown type of forward. Haynes is a more zone-off types of defenders. So, and then you got your small defenders as well. So it is a juggling act. And at the end of the day, we try and pick a team that plays. And the biggest challenge and a lot of discussion goes around, and it's probably the last few years when Grundy and Gawn have been so dominant the ruck. Tell me any other team that plays 2 rucks. They don't really. So there is a little bit of flexibility to what you do, but we try and pick a team that's going to go out there and win a game of football, even though they never play that game.
And the debate could go on for the rest of the day, guys. Let's move on to the players that are on the move in 2021. I want your take on Zach Williams, the GWS free agent going to Carlton, Sam. Is that something that's likely to happen?
Yes, happening. Yep, he'll join Carlton on at least a 5-year deal. It could be as high as 7 years worth north of $850,000 a year. That's
sorry. What did you just say?
Zach Williams will be joining Carlton on a long-term deal, somewhere between 5 and 7 years, north of $850,000 a season.
Geez, I wouldn't want to be Paddy Cripps coming out of contract or Sam Walsh coming out of contract because, and then this is not being cynical, you get what you get and the market dictates what you get at a certain time, and he's clearly cashed in at the right time. But I would have thought any decisions over 4 years for a player who doesn't spend much time in the midfield. He's a halfback flanker, mostly, or an outside wingman. And don't get me wrong, he's a very good player. But when you play that sort of money over that sort of journey, he's one injury away from never playing again. I just think there's massive risk, particularly in the climate we're looking at football clubs cutting left, right and centre. I get they need that player, but do they need him at that cost? Because if he's worth 700,000-800,000, Paddy Cripps is worth $1.5 million.
Yeah, Cripps out of contract at the end of next year, Seb, as is Harry Mackay. So the Blues do have plenty of cash at the moment to spend, but they'll have done these deals, Tredders, knowing that they're going to have to make sure they pay their good players that are already there as well.
Tredders, Orazio Fantasia to go to South Australia. Which of the two Adelaide clubs would be first in line for his services?
Well, 12 months ago, and I can tell you hand on heart, I spoke to Port Adelaide. They didn't even know he wanted to come home, and never at any stage did he request a trade. But because he changed manager, goes with Michael Dowdy from TLA, an Adelaide-based manager, everyone thought, hang on, he's coming home. First thing he said to him is, I want to honour my contract to the Bombers. Well, fast forward, last year he's probably worth the first-round pick. This year, I'm not sure he's even worth the second-round pick or even late. He's hardly played any footy. He's played probably one full season in the last 3 or 4. I think either team would be interested, but you're not going to have to give up much to get him. Bombers are notoriously difficult to deal with, and he's not going to get the money he probably deserves because he hasn't played footy. So I think either team would be keen. Hey, you look at Port Adelaide, he's sitting top of the table. Could they put him in if they kept him fit? Geez, he's had a lot. But I also think Adelaide probably needs one of those players in their forward line because they don't have much pressure and speed. So I dare say that one is probably going a little bit further, and the Bombers are probably going, well, we've had a lot of injuries with him. Maybe he needs a fresh start and we'll cash in what's left.
Sam Tredrea's mentioned List culling. Has Harley Benennett made Melbourne's decision easier? Leaves the hub on Friday or Saturday morning to go drinking with a mate on the Gold Coast. Has some trouble getting back to the hub at Maroochydore. His wife and his kid are back in the hub. Some strange behaviour from Harley Benennett. Is this the end of his football journey?
Oh, I hope it's not, Seb. I hate writing guys off, but geez, he's had a lot of chances, and Melbourne gave him a really big chance. He's had injury worries, we know that. Then he had some form worries in and out. Had some really good moments in Melbourne season, but geez, this tarnishes his chances, I think, at getting a contract for next year. But as Tredrea and I have spoken about the last few weeks, we still don't know what list sizes are going to be. I guess what plays into Harley's hand a little bit, even though it sounds like a negative, is that there's probably not a lot of other clubs now trying to screaming out for him. So Melbourne might be able to offer him a rookie deal with match payments. It's a low risk for them. They treat him almost as a draftee, and we know what his best is capable of. But I was really flat when I heard the news of Harley Benennett, because all the talk about him coming to Melbourne, Tredrea, is that his off-field stuff had been really good for a long time. He had the issues at Fremantle, and he got kicked off a flight, and that was one of various incidents. But it was, his on-field stuff. Let's just get his body right, and let's get him playing well. For his off-field stuff to again hinder him, I think is really disappointing and sad for him.
Yeah, and what makes it worse, boys, I've just done a quick Google search on the old AFL tables. He has played 7 games of football since the end of the 2015 season.
Yeah, wow.
And 5 of those were this year. So, geez, it's going to be flip of the coin, and it's going to become, I think it's going to come back to what Simon Goodwin and Darren Burgess, their fitness guy, and where they think they can get him. And it won't come back to those numbers. It'll just be, hey, what's our gut feel? And it might be the as we say, 38th player on the list, the 40th player on the list, or if the rookie list survives, it's one spot saying you got one opportunity at best. Or they might just go, you know what, we've had their chances and it hasn't worked and you're not learning. And unfortunately, 7 games since 2015, it's not going to cut it.
I like when you bring stats to the table, Tredders. Very nice work. Time to move on to the social club, where we highlight some exceptional pieces of social media. And this comes from the Enright household, former Geelong great Corey Enright, sitting there watching the TV when his daughter Luna does this. Take a look. Oh, it was a crucial point in the game, Sam. The Swans and Cats going at it. The future of the final series wasn't really going to change too much, but it was the wrong moment to pull the plug.
Oh, so cute, though. I tell you what, that happened in my household when Carlton were playing. I'm not sure what would have happened, but that was very, very cute.
Who says that kid? You says you can't train a kid, boys. There is someone who's planted that in the kid to go, hey, Mum doesn't like football. Nana doesn't like football. If you get the chance, press the little red button. That'll turn it off. And, geez, you couldn't have had better timing just to annoy the crap out of about 50 people.
Oh.
We've got a presentation to make. The winner of the Sure Thing tipping competition for 2020 on Talk of the Town, Sam McClure, congratulations. I loaded up on the Bombers in the last week. They let me down against the Demons. Tredders, you and I have
Funny
to share
that.
silver.
Funny that, the Bombers letting you down.
It's a consistent theme in my life at the moment. Gentlemen,
hey, the positive is it's the first time since 95 the Blues have won something, so let's celebrate.
I just had a short speech that I would like to.
Yes, okay.
No.
That was very short.
It's just nice being better at something than Tredrea.
I'll go on the CV. The Port Adelaide Premiership champion, Warren Tredrea. Thank you, as always.
Let's do it again.
And the chief football reporter for the Nine Network, Sam McClure.
And also winner of the inaugural Talk of the Town Sure Thing.
We need to get a sort of a trophy, a gold Tredrea dome for the winner of the tipping competition, I reckon. Talk of the Town, we'll be back next week. We'll see you. It's finals time.